Please watch my video on multiplying and dividing fractions first. I find it much easier to teach people how to work with fractions if they learn multiplication and division first. For addition and subtraction with fractions, you can only add or subtract fractions that have the same number or value in the denominator. This is not true for multiplication or division. This is only true for addition and subtraction. You must have the same number or value in the denominator. What do I mean by value in the denominator? You might have an x in the denominator, or you might have an equation in the denominator, but everything has to be the same in the denominator of both fractions before you can add them or subtract them. So if both fractions have the same denominator, we add or subtract the numerators depending on what operation is between the fractions. And we keep the same common denominator. When I say keep the same common denominator, I'm talking about the common denominator of the two fractions that you are either adding or subtracting. Let's look at the first example. 1/2 plus 1/2. I have the same number in the denominator of both fractions. The denominator is the bottom number, the numerator is the top number. The denominator for both fractions is 2, so I write that same common denominator right here as my answer. Now I add the numerators. 1 plus 1 equals 2. 2 over 2 equals 1. Anything over itself equals 1. Fractions are division problems. 2 divided by 2 equals 1. If I had a pie and divided it into 2 equal parts, I would give you 1/2 and I'd keep 1/2. If we were to put each of our halves together, we would have 2 halves or 1 whole pie. Let's look at the second example. 1/4 plus 2/4 equals 3/4. The denominators are the same, so I can do this. I write the same denominator here. I write a 4 here. Now I must add the numerators. 1 plus 2 equals 3. Let's look at the next example. 30 over 79 plus 19 over 79 equals 49 over 79. I have the same number in the denominator of both fractions, so I keep the same denominator. I add the numerators. 30 plus 19 equals 49. In this example, I purposely wrote big numbers, uneven numbers, numbers you don't know multiples of, because I want you to become comfortable working with any fractions. The rules still apply. It doesn't matter how crazy the numbers look. The rules still apply. In this next example, I have a negative number. -2/9 plus 11/9. I can add two positive numbers. I can add two negative numbers. I can add a positive number to a negative number. Just like when you worked with whole numbers that were negative and positive, the rules still apply. So we have 9 in the denominator of both fractions. So we keep that common denominator for our answer. -2 plus 11 is 9. We have a positive number here and a negative number here. We find the difference and keep the sign of the larger number. So -2 plus 11 is a positive 9. 9 over 9, anything over itself, equals 1. Now let's look at some examples with subtraction. 2/3 minus 1/3 equals 1/3. The denominators are the same, so I keep the same common denominator for my answer, 3. I subtract 2 minus 1, which equals 1. Now let's think about it. If I had 2/3 of a pie and I gave you 1/3, I would be left with 1/3. Here's another example. 25 over 51 minus 15 over 51 equals 10 over 51. The denominators here are the same. They're all 51. 51 in this denominator, 51 in this one. Therefore, I can add or subtract these fractions. I keep the same common denominator, 51. Now I must subtract the numerators. 25 minus 15 equals 10. 5 over 5 minus 2 over 5 equals 3 over 5. The denominators are the same for both of these fractions, so I keep the same common denominator here. 5 minus 2 is 3. Now I want you to notice something here. 5 over 5 is the same as 1. Anything over itself equals 1. Fractions are division problems. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So this term here, this fraction here, 5 over 5, is the same as the whole number 1. So if I wanted to find out what 1 minus 2/5 equals, I must change that into 5 over 5 in order to subtract it from a fraction with 5 in the denominator. In this last example, I have 1/2 minus 3/2. The denominators are the same, so I keep the same common denominator. 1 minus 3, I'm taking 3 away from 1. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Negative 2 over 2 equals negative 1. There's a positive down here. Negative divided by positive is negative, so we can write the negative there. And 2 divided by 2 is 1, or 2 over 2 is 1. I hope this lesson was helpful. Please leave a comment. Have a great day.